Everybody, welcome to Aspects Land of a Changing Man. My name is Gold, bringing you another episode. If you guys want to hit me up, remember MPLSMIKID at yahoo and gmail.com. Also, at MPLSMIKID when it comes to Twitter. Instagram is MPLSMIKID. Gold Washington is the personal Facebook page, and Aspects Land of a Changing Man is the Facebook page for this podcast. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me today. A sad moment. RIP to all the children in the Florida shooting. That's a sad issue. I have kids myself, and I wonder about them every day. I make sure that I call them and check up on them every day to make sure that they are okay. As far as going to school and being in a situation, it's hard for us as parents to picture our kids being in that type of situation, especially as they're growing and being able to be more independent as they grow along. It worries us that a situation like that can actually happen in our own backyard. But RIP to my prayers go out to those parents that are going through those situations, the kids that had to see a situation like that, and I definitely pray that we get through this as a country, as a community, as a family. I'd like to thank everybody for the commitment of listening to my show, showing the support. Remember, like and comment, like and follow if you like the show. Definitely follow. The more followers we get, that's showing that this is a show that people can actually listen to and learn something from. And just remember, I am learning just as you're learning. So this is just my outlook on situations that I feel like can help the situations that we go through. But today's subject, I want to talk about a very good subject to talk about. There's a passage in the Bible. It's Romans 12:2. The saying of it is, "Do not be conformed by this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is good, pleasing, and perfect will of God." Well, the thing that I wanted to talk about is really not the whole thing, but just the first half of it, because I feel like that is a perfect subject to talk about when it comes to change and trying to change yourself, especially when it comes to being with a partner, because I find it that we try to change, and the thing is when you're trying to change, if you don't change everything about the subject, it's very easy to go back to the problem. If you don't change everything about what it is, what the problem is, how you look at the problem, what you think about when it comes to the problem, if you don't change everything that has to do with that, it's easy to go back. It's like being addicted to drugs. If you don't change everything about it, the way that you talk when it comes to when you were doing the drugs, if you don't change the people that you hang around, if they're doing the drugs, or how they influence you, the places you go that involve those drugs, the people that the people that influence you to do those drugs, if you don't change the way that you handle every situation, if you don't clear all those things out, if you don't take every spec that has to do with changing that situation, it will be easy to go back. You know, is another passage in the Bible where it talks about, planting seeds. If you don't plant them in the right place, if you don't plant them in the right way, it's easy for you to, for those seeds to try to grow out, but they're not going to grow out in the right way, and they're going to die down, and you're just going to turn back to the person that you were. For me, being the person that I was in the past, I really had a problem with cheating, and I had to change everything that I was thinking about. As far as what was the real reason I was doing it, why did I start doing it in the first place, who I was doing it with, and I had to change all of that. For me, the problem was it began when I would listen to people on how they thought I was supposed to do things, or how they were doing it, and try to apply it to my life on, should I do it? And it was like, yeah, I should do it, and I should do it in that type of way. And the reason I should do it is because they're good at it and they feel good about it, so maybe I'll feel good about it. But when it came to the goal that I was trying to reach, which was being in a relationship, getting married, raising a family, the correct way, they didn't align. It was a problem. So I had to change everything about it. I even had to change my location because the situations that the situation I was in, I felt like that was the only way for me to live. I felt like I had to do that. But changing my location and changing who I was, and rethinking things through, like how important my partner was and how much I want them to stay around, because yeah, there was a lot of relationships that ended off of my cheating. So I had to change that, and the way for me to change it was the outlook. How I treated people. What I said when it came to those situations. If I looked at them the same. If I talked about them the same. What I listened to as far as music, and how that influenced me. If I took it as entertainment or if I took it as real life. I had to change every aspect of it so that I wouldn't go back to that way. And there were still little specks that I seen that were there that I had to also get rid of so that I was able to be clear of that. But I had to renew my whole thinking process. I had to renew my mind in in that in that way of thinking, because if I didn't, I was going to stay going down that same road, which was an unhappy road when I finally realized, when I finally stopped to, think about it. And one person I see that changes, and a lot of people don't see it, don't think about it when they think about this person, but I listen to Jay-Z, and if you look at back, if you look back from, the life and times of S. Dot Carter to when he got with Beyonce and their marriage, and all the stuff that he was going through, especially 444, he definitely changed the way he was talking. The things that he talked about in his lyrics actually changed. He went from pimping to I want to be with her, I want to be with her, she's my one and only, to, we're having problems and we need to fix it. It wasn't the same things in his lyrics that were there before. He changed he renewed his mind on the way that he thought about the situations. I see a lot of guys that go through, the party phase. They're the guys. They party a lot. They may be, the party animal. They may be the one that goes out every night. They're just the crazy guys, and then they get into a relationship, or they get an addition to their family, and everything calms down, because now they can't do the same things they used to. They had to change everything about them. And they may go out sometimes, but they don't go out all the time because it changed. The other person was a little bit unhappy with them going out, and they had to change that. They renewed their mind on the thinking process of what is more important. If I'm going to be with this person, if I'm going to raise this kid, if I'm going to do what I want to do, if I'm going to, keep the job that I want to have, I got to renew my thinking process. If I don't, then I'm not going to be a success. I'm not going to reach the success of what I'm trying to get to. Going back to, the beginning of it, it says not to be conformed. And the definition of conformed is to uh, follow the standards, the rules, and the laws. And it's not saying to go out there and, like, don't follow the law. Go and do 120 and a 30. It's not saying that, or go rob a store. No, it's saying that if people have what they think people should be following as far as their actions and the way that they think and how they handle situations. Um, if you think about today, a lot of people are in the side chick and side dude generation, and that's not a way that you want to follow. The reason you don't want to follow behind a lot of people is because they handle situations different. And you can't really do the same things that everybody else does. You can't handle situations the same way that another couple handles it, because they may be in they're a whole nother situation. Basically, with your partner, it's you and them. It's you, your family, versus everybody. Because a lot of people don't want you to be happy in a relationship. They just don't. For some reason, they rather not see you happy with anybody, and they'll tell you anything. And some will probably try to protect you, but they'll do it in the wrong way. They'll say some things without having all the facts, just because they're trying to guard you and they feel like they could be the savior of your relationship. So, you got to watch out for everyone that feels like they have to do that. People be in your business. That's the way of the world today. That's what Facebook is. That's what social media is. It's basically you being nosy. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a Facebook and you shouldn't handle yourself, because I definitely have one, but you shouldn't be all on there, all the time. You should be, some of the time should be spent doing something else, in your relationship. You shouldn't be liking other females' pictures on Instagram, because that's, it's not a good thing. You're basically lusting for somebody else instead of paying attention to your partner and finding more beauty in them, and learning more about them to make them more feel more important. We're doing other things. We're being like other people because everybody else is doing it. We're talking like everybody else and using the words that people use. We're saying things and we're doing things, and we want to be just like somebody else. I mean, there's a lot of people that, if you look at it, Michael Jordan has become the religion of today. A lot of people go out and buy Jordans every 2 to 3 weeks. Whenever a new pair come out, there's people lined up just to get get the pair of Jordans. There's people that spend a lot of money on clothes. They don't have a car, but they have a lot of clothes. Not saying that anybody just does wrong, like all this is doing wrong, but it's basically being the standard of this world, and we're not supposed to be a part of the world. We're supposed to be a part of our family, and doing the same thing that everybody else does is just making us a part of the world instead of our own house, our own world. Especially with being a man, the motto of a lot of men, especially black men, is "F you, pay me." It's "F you, get money." And I feel like that's towards, like, it goes towards women, like, that basically says, don't worry about women, worry about your money. Don't chase women, chase money. That's basically the motto of they feel like would make a strong black man. But at the same time, we shouldn't be thinking like that, because that's, if you're looking for a wife, you don't have to chase your wife, but at the same time, you shouldn't be saying forget her or F her. It should be about her. It should be about the family. But when you're following behind the